got these two brake lines. They come from each brake drum to this distribution block that mounts to the diff cover, and it has a crimped on rubber line so that when the axle moves up and down, it doesn't bend a metal line. So that goes right here under the frame, underneath the body right here. I've got a P-clip right there on the frame to hold it, and it goes underneath the frame and around. We got plenty of room between that tire. And then it is P-clipped to the side of the frame, ran down the frame, P-clipped again to this proportioning valve. I had to get a nice little adapter, that brass piece, to go from 1/8 male NPT to whatever the thread pitch, I can't remember right now, that is the flare nut. So it goes into that. We've got the same thing on this side, and it comes up around to the master cylinder right there. It's kind of a struggle, sorry. But it goes right there to the master cylinder, and then we've got a line coming off the master cylinder right here to a distribution block. Let me try and get the camera up in there. There we go. Right here to this distribution block that goes to the individual front brakes. So, that wasn't a very good way to show it, but there you go. So, that is the brake system. It is officially done. All we have left to do is bleed it tomorrow and hope that it holds pressure. Alrighty guys, alrighty, so the lighting is not great, but as you can see, we got our battery mount and our radiator mounts all done. Radiator is going to bolt right there, there, and there, and then we got 2 bars running from frame rail to frame rail, and we got a nice little triangular setup where the bottom radiator mount is welded and goes straight down, top is welded to the back bar, comes off, then we got a little triangle piece welded in there to square it all up. And yeah, so that is done. I just got the battery mount, a piece of flat stock welded to the bars, and then just a piece with wing nuts on it, and the battery is good to go, nice and solid. We'll probably end up just throwing a little stopper on each side, but this isn't the battery we're gonna run. This battery is actually bad, and so we gotta wait and see exactly what battery we're gonna get for it. Once we get the battery, then we'll make the little stoppers for it and be done. But that is the radiator and battery mounts. Now we're gonna throw the radiator in for hopefully the last time. We will have to unbolt it to get the battery in and out. That's the only thing, but it is what it is. So gonna throw the radiator in, and then we are going to hop on cleaning all the junk. You can see all the metal shavings and crap out of here, and we are going to start sealing off the interior, because as soon as we get that all sealed off, we can get some rhino liner, bed liner, whatever later, but we can do that kind of towards the end. But right now we just need to get that all sealed off, get the steering back in. I'm gonna have Emma come out and help me bleed the brakes. We're making good progress. So after that, we're gonna jump on the exhaust crossover that connects both manifolds and goes up to the turbo. We're gonna redo that crossover with some V-bands, get that done quickly. Then we gotta get our exhaust dump, come out the back of the turbo and out the fuel door like we had it last time. We're doing a 4-inch one this time, and we are redoing it because now the body sits different to where it was last time, so the old one won't work. So we got a lot of exhaust work, interior sealing up, and radiator mount battery install, and then we can start on a bunch of little stuff, wiring, that kind of junk. So just trying to make progress and trying to get her knocked out. Alrighty guys, so we got quite a bit done. We got some interior work. We got the shifter mounted. I still need to put some silicone around where the cable goes in. We got most of our stuff siliconed up. By silicone I mean construction adhesive that is going to be good and heavy duty. As you saw, we got the back all done. So I'm realizing it doesn't need to be airtight. It's never gonna be airtight. The car's not gonna be airtight. So I just did the main parts, honestly, just to kind of keep water and moisture out. It's not really gonna keep moisture out, but to keep water from splashing up basically through the floorboards. So that's where we are on that. I kind of gave up on covering every single seam because it's just, I don't have time, it's too much. So we need to make one more steering mount. Haven't done that, but we got our shifter mounted, started to bleed our brakes, and broke a bleeder screw off of the front passenger caliper because it was seized and I was trying to break it loose and it just broke it. So now I have to go get a different caliper off a parts car at my brother's house. Really frustrating, but whatever. So hopefully tomorrow we'll have our brakes bled. They're all ran, and I'm really nervous and excited to see if they're going to leak or not because I did the entire system myself. So I'm hoping they don't leak. They shouldn't leak. I did them pretty well, but you know, it's always nerve-wracking and it's brakes. So we got to make sure it doesn't leak. If it does, obviously we got to pull it apart and fix it. So got the brakes done, just need to be bled. Shifter in. Alrighty boys, we got our intercooler mounted. We just welded a piece of angle iron between the frame rails. We're good to go. It's a little bit wobbly. It's nice and solid. The angle iron just flexes a little bit, but once it's hooked up from here to here with the coupler and intercooler piping, from there to there, it's not going anywhere. I'm not worried. It's super solid. So you could probably pick the whole car up by it. So we're good to go. Alrighty boys, so we have some super duper exciting stuff going on up here, and let me explain. This has been an absolute nightmare adapting a 4L80, four-wheel drive 4L80 to a S10 front diff. Of course, the shadow. The yoke that is actually bolted to the diff is not a 1310. So I did a ton of research, tried to figure it out, what series U-joint it was so I could figure out the adapter I needed, and I couldn't find it. It's not a 1250, it's not a 1310, it's somewhere in between. It was really horrible. I went back and forth to the parts store about 6 times in one day trading out U-joints. After a bunch of research, I was like, I wonder if we can take this yoke. My brother actually suggested it to me and I blew him off, I was like, that won't work. So I ended up taking a yoke off of the old 4-wheel drive 10 bolt rear end that came in this S10 and bolted the yoke to the front diff, and it worked. And all we needed was a stock U-joint for a 2500 front drive shaft. They're both 1310s, and it bolted right up. So super exciting. I couldn't find anything online, so I hope this helps somebody, because it took me all day, but I finally got it figured out. So we got our shifter installed, like I said, but the shifter works, and I can't even show you on camera how close it is, but it is so close to the drive shaft, but it clears all the way from park back to first. It clears. I was going to weld these V-bands that I bought on and redo my exhaust crossover, but I simply don't have time. We have like 18 days to get this car to LS Fest, and I would like to get at least a test hit or some street driving before then. So I'm super freaked out. We really don't have time for it. So what I ended up doing was hammering my old exhaust. You can't really see on camera. It looks like it's touching. There's just a fraction of space. Obviously you can see where I rotated it before I hammered it some more. But we're going to clamp it on with the crappy U-bolt clamps like we did last time and run it for now. Got the torque converter bolts all in, and then one other thing that I did is I got the front diff actuator mounted, just self-tapered right to that, right to this cross member right here, because it is all contained. The bracket and the cable pulling and the diaphragm is all contained in its own bracket. So that is literally just to keep it from sliding around. It doesn't need anything crazy holding it in place, so self-tappers will do. Got that self-tappered in. We need to wire up our electric vacuum pump and mount it tomorrow. We'll get that done shortly. So some of you guys will remember from last time I had this turbo dump running right here. Move some stuff so I can show you. Sorry, the welder is super loud and my heater is super loud, so I apologize for the background noise. But I had my turbo dump just like that last time, going right out the door like that. But now it is quite a bit lower than the door. Let me see if I can show you. Quite a bit lower than the door and doesn't quite reach. Plus it necks down beautifully in my homemade way from 4-inch. And then I cut some 4-inch and I sliced it and made an adapter and then ran it to 3-inch out the car. I had to hammer the crap out of it for the hood hinges that used to be right there in the corner. And it was still rubbing on the hood hinge really bad, even being hammered. So this time we're gonna do 4-inch all the way out. Alrighty, here's my new 4-inch turbo dump, just tacked in place right now. Then 90s. Pops out right here. Out the fuel door. I am going to hammer this outer piece a little bit and get it to line up better so there's no gaps like there is right there at the top and at the bottom and stuff. But we're gonna pull it off and weld it out. Alrighty, so we got some shock absorbers mounted in here. We got a piece of angle iron welded to the frame rails, hole drilled in it, shock absorber. Shock absorber, we are using front shocks off the 2-wheel drive chassis because they are short enough, the body is short enough that we will still have room for it to compress. The other shocks that I was going to use, rear shocks, are just way too long. So these ones are short enough that we will still be able to have up and down stroke. So we don't have a lot of travel in this suspension and that is perfectly fine. So got that done. We got the radiator mounted as I showed you, the battery mounted, and we got the trans cooler mounted. We had to do a bunch of adapting because this is like a diesel cooler. So don't look at all those hose clamps, but it'll seal and it's fine. Got our trans cooler and coolant lines routed, mostly zip tied out of the way. Still need to trim some ends obviously on the zip ties, but got that routed pretty well. This is my just in case angle. I'm about to fire up the fuel pump for the first time. So this is my just in case something catches on fire. Cool. So the fuel pump's delayed. It takes a second to kick on. So that's cool. So we're making 58 PSI just like we want to. And we are somehow not leaking at the fuel rail. That is super awesome, super unexpected. Let's see. I'm thinking about it. Theoretically, all we have to do is put our spark plug wires on and the car should start. I say we put our spark plug wires on and start the car real quick. Let me grab the instructions. Fuel pump real quick. Cars don't start without tunes in them. Never mind. Yeah, it's probably not gonna start without a tune in it. I still gotta hook the handheld up and make a bass tune real quick. Be right back. Oh yeah, boys. She's alive. She is freaking alive. Ooh. It is 1:30 in the morning. My neighbors hate me, but she is freaking alive. Oh! Tomorrow, we're gonna see all 4 tires spin on the lift, guys. Oh. Alright, that was super motivating. It's late. I'm gonna go try and get some sleep and come back out here in the morning. Ooh. Heck yeah.